Hey everyone, so the video you are about to see is a drunk review, and I've done videos like this before, but there are drunk reviews and there are drunk reviews, okay? This is the most disheveled and messy I've ever looked on this channel. I pre-gamed before the review, so I had drank beforehand and my entire chest was covered in like drunken red rashes. I think I cried at one point, I don't know. It was just a mess, so yeah. The footage was so embarrassing, I almost scrapped the whole thing, but I was like, you know what? For authenticity's sake, people don't look pretty when they're fucking drunk, and authenticity is what we're after on this channel. Honesty, being oneself and being comfortable with that. Also, my hair was like such a mess that I had to wear a snow hat, I had to wear a beanie, and it was just not pretty, but I mean, who gives a fuck about pretty, right? It's a book channel. I'd like to think that you're watching it for my opinion on books. Anyway, peace, hopefully you enjoy, and hopefully we make some magic together. Enjoy. Hi, I don't know how to start this video. Why am I here today? Why am I here today? The ever philosophical question. If you're wondering why I'm like turning red, it's because this is gonna be one of those book reviews where I partake in this thing on my channel we like to call super special fun juice. Literally, if I ever release merch, if I ever become that relevant to the point where I can release merch, you're gonna get mugs or shot glasses saying super special fun juice, because that's what this is, on the rocks. Except the rocks have melted because I started already. Damn, she's strong. Anyway, hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel of your favorite, or soon-to-be favorite, bookworm twink, Supreme. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys one of the most horrifying experiences I've ever... Somebody is popping fireworks outside. Fuck my life.
The next day.
Anyway, one of the most disgusting, horrifying experiences I've ever experienced, and that is the book Credence by Penelope Douglas. I'm gonna need some of this before we talk about this thing. If you're on Bookstagram, BookTube, BookTok, any one of those things, you've probably heard about this book. It is this supposed erotic romance that is erotic and taboo as. So that's kind of the reputation of this book. So for those of you who are new to this channel, hi, subscribe, join the family, find that bell, because if you click the bell, YouTube will magically notify you about when I post new stuff. I have this series on my channel where I read the most disturbing books ever written, and as a result, I am a very curious reader. Whenever something is described as taboo or disturbing or will definitely you up, I want in. So I read this book for that reason and that reason alone, and I was just like, how bad could this be? I mean, like, does the dad all the people in the house? Do the two brothers end up f***ing? Does he in the eye or something? Let me just say that I regret ever asking. Let's just put that out there. So yeah, this is gonna be a spoiler review, and I'm gonna be talking to you all about the plot. This book took literal years off my life, and I want my money back, and my time back, Penelope. Douglas. Penelope, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna be spoiling the plot, but there is no plot, so if you're scared about being spoiled, trust me, you're gonna lose nothing watching this video, because it's literally just the whole time. For some reason, I want to give all the tea on this book, because that's why you're here. Let's begin. Also, I'm going to be using some props to help illustrate the magnificent plot of Credence. If you're triggered by literally anything involving underage people and people being forced to do stuff, I would click off now, because I'm going to be describing that in like excruciating detail, because that's what happens in this book. So fair warning, there you go. So in this book, we follow a young girl who is 17 years old. Her name is Tiernan, and the book opens up with her parents committing So she moves into this secluded house in the mountaintops of snowy Colorado with her adoptive 40-year-old uncle and his 2 sons, Caleb and Noah. And this book was billed as supposedly sketchy erotica that ventures into the naughty side. But what this book is actually about is a bunch of men getting up in the business of this 17-year-old girl. It's about how these men groom and assault her while she's underage, and then her the day she turns 18. I wish I was making that up. I wish I was lying right now, but that's not happening. I am speaking the truth, sadly. But it gets worse. Not bad to the point where somebody ends up dead, because if that had happened, I would have probably given this book 5 stars as opposed to the fucking 0 stars I ended up giving it. But worse in the sense that Penelope Douglas narrates some of the scenes from the point of view of her 40-year-old uncle and likes to use words like wet and tight ad nauseum over and over again, like 50 times in one scene. I am not making that up. Yeah, these people love to use the word like literally. I counted like 100 times that word was used, and I'm not exaggerating at all. Like, I literally counted all the something I thought I, as a person, would never say in this lifetime, but this book made me do that, and that's what happened. Alright, so let me tell you about the main characters so you have an idea of where this story is going. Our first guy is named Jake. He is the uncle. He is in his late 40s, constantly shirtless. He's built like a tank. He's got a monster and he has this distinct anger towards Tiernan's dad and mom because when he was younger, he had this girlfriend who was an immigrant and poor, but his rich-ass parents, rich-ass white parents, didn't approve of her. So the mom of Tiernan got immigrant lady drunk, and then she got Tiernan's dad, her husband, to sleep with her in bed so they could trick her into thinking that she had cheated on Jake. And so she killed herself because of the guilt, and Jake ended up alone and sad and hating his entire family. So now Jake is angry, he's traumatized, he's horny, and he's here to have some fun, okay? The next guy is Caleb. He is, I believe, to be the older son. He has dark hair, and that is literally all the characterization I can say about this guy. He is traumatized also to the point that he doesn't speak. He is essentially mute for this entire book until the end, of course, because redemption arc. In the very first scene we see him in, he literally tries to Tiernan the second he sees her. He had just come home from hunting, so he has animal blood all over, and the second he sees her, he slams her up against the car and tries to her until his brother walks in and stops what's happening, but by then it's already like a line has been crossed, you know? So he's traumatized because when he was a kid, his mom locked him in a car for 4 straight days because she went out partying with her friends. She was literally partying it up for 4 straight days, leaving her kid in the car with no food, no water. How he didn't suffocate to death or get kidnapped, I don't know, but that is the logic this book operates on, so you're gonna have to just go with it. And if you're wondering if Penelope Douglas, the author of this piece of literature, used this trauma to try to justify a romance between Caleb the and Tiernan, the underage girl that they were abusing the whole time, yes she does. And it's so bad, it's so painful, it is so, I wanted to cry my eyes out. Also, he has this character trait where if women don't do what he tells them to do, he throws tantrums, he hits them, he spits on them, he breaks furniture, he goes berserk in front of everybody, he punches them in the face, makes them bleed. I am not kidding. It is crazy. Whose fantasy is this? If you liked this book, specifically this charmer that I just described, could you tell me in the comments, because I am genuinely curious to see what people these days are into, because I am not very social, so for all I know, a lot of you are into guys like this. I highly doubt it though, but please let me know. Comment section is yours. Make use of it the way you see fit. The next guy, I'm leaving that in. Alright, so this next guy, his name is Noah. He is the younger son. He f***ing hates his dad. Like, he has this punching bag in the house that he kickboxes and beats the out of, and he pretends that it's his dad the whole time. He despises Jake. He thinks that Jake is like this evil piece of which he is. But at least this guy's honest about it, so there you go. It doesn't make him any better because he's like just as bad as the other two guys. But yeah, he constantly has a rock hard for some reason. I don't know why I needed to know that. Also, he has this thing where he likes to the 18-year-old sister of his ex to get back at her for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why we need to know any of this, but Penelope Douglas for some reason was like, I need to inform my audience that character development is important, so I'm gonna Penelope Douglas was like, they need to know this. Penelope Douglas was like, this information is crucial. Also, he has a that is like, for some reason, 17 inches long. Sounds more painful, if anything else, if you ask me. He likes to watch and in front of his brother and his cousin, his female cousin, by the way, and his male brother. Look at me, I sound like a dumbass. It's almost done. Are we surprised, given the book we are talking about right now? Okay, so Noah, he's got the ability to, and this is a superpower, he has the ability to like 5 times in a row in one session for some reason. Oh, and there's this other thing. Apparently, he is hot and single, so is his brother, so is his dad. So constantly there are single women from the village coming into their house to them. Like every single night there is a new woman in the house that they are having with. And all of this loud, hard pound is happening while an underage 17-year-old girl can hear all of this. She's in the house while all of this is happening. So if you're wondering about all the things you need to know about these characters, they are traumatized, single white men, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And they are constantly shirtless, and they constantly have hard and they're into a lot of kinky shit. That's pretty much it, honestly. You know how most people are described in books? It's like, they have brown eyes, they've got blue eyes, they've got blonde hair, brown hair, they have intelligence, they are interested in this and that. Nope, none of that here. Literally no characterizations whatsoever beyond the fact that they've got giant they like to abuse, and they're traumatized, and they can like 5 times in a row. That's it. Okay, so the last person we're gonna talk about in this review is Tiernan. She is the main girl in this story, and we hear pretty much the entire story from her point of view. And she's not like other girls. She's from California, but she's not like other girls, and she constantly talks about the girls from back home and how she's ashamed of them and how she's not like them. Like, I'm not materialistic. I don't like that kind of music. I don't like to talk. I like to be quiet. I like to sit in the back of the classroom like an anime protagonist and eat lunch on the roof of the school because I am not like other girls. She's got mommy issues. She's got daddy issues. She's got all the issues with everybody in her life. Her parents neglected her. And this book tries to argue that if your parents neglect you, you end up looking for love in all the wrong places. And Tiernan pretty much does that for like 500 straight pages in this book, and it gets pretty frustrating that she never learns not to do that because she kind of just does that the whole time. And Penelope Douglas, the author, is like, cool, good on you, girl. That's exactly how things should be. And it's like, no, that's not only problematic, that's bad storytelling. That is not character development. That is just, anyway. Why am I even talking about this? I don't know. Y'all asked for it. Y'all voted on my Instagram poll on this poll thing that I posted to poll y'all. Anyway, so she starts off the book as a normal human being, but then these guys like bully her and berate her and boss her around and like straight up like assault her. Super disgusting, super inappropriate. It's only when she becomes one of the guys that they start to become nice to her. And why, like literally why is the question I am posing to whomever is viewing this story, or I'm not filming a story, this is a camera, I'm filming a video, bottoms up, bitch. So yeah, I don't know, don't ask me why this book was written. I can only assume that this author was bored in quarantine and this is what she thought of and decided to jot this down, and a publisher was like, cool, I'm gonna publish this. And people read this book to the point that it has a reputation online, so that's why I read it. And joke's on me. Like, the men in this book so many times, I'm surprised they didn't start shooting powder out for some reason, I don't know. Alright, so it's time for the exciting part. And by the exciting part, I mean the bit of story that doesn't count as story. So it's winter, they get snowed into the house, they get cut off from the rest of the world, cut off from the rest of society. There's no maids, there's no cooks, it's impossible to get into the house, it's impossible to get out of the house. They're snowed in because it's the dead of winter and they have to hunt for their own food. And you've got all the people I just described trapped in a house for 4 months with no contact to the outside world. No one can hear you scream. You can't ask for help. What could go wrong? I regret asking. So they try to live this normal life, and they keep making a big deal about how Tiernan is only 17 years old. And honestly, the way it's written here is so gross. I don't even want to look at the camera. These guys are literally like counting down the days until she turns 18 so they can pounce her. I was thinking, this book is so plotless. This book has no suspense. What is this author doing to build suspense? It turns out that she is using this character's age as a mechanism to build suspense, because the second she turns 18 is when they can legally each other. Yeah. Literally, the second she turns 18, these guys waste, like, no time. Right when she turns 18, her uncle her in the car. She has a with both brothers while her uncle is out of the house. Literally every fight that happens in this book between the three central men happens only because one of them her before the other one got to her. These guys aren't even men, they're just a bunch of dogs, like, marking their territory. Is this what turns you on, Penelope? So one day they are hanging out and they are watching TV, and Tiernan says, and I quote, I bet you get bored in the winter. And then I think Noah responds saying, no we don't, we keep ourselves entertained with this. And then he puts on a we see this guy and his girlfriend, and they are out on this road trip, and they get pulled over by a bunch of cops, and then the two cops and the guy, the girl, one after the other. While this is happening, Noah and Caleb start, and Tiernan likes what she is seeing, so she also starts under the pillow. And then she takes her used finger and she puts it in the face of her cousins. Her cousins? I don't care if you're not related by blood. There are certain things you just don't do, and you don't do them. And that's one of them, okay? And then Noah pulls her pants down and he's like, well, we might have something to play with this winter after all. And by that point, I could already, like, taste my breakfast just, like, going up from my you know, digestive system up to my mouth. And then Noah says, I do not want to read this out loud. He's like, he tells Caleb, don't bruise her until she's used to that. I take your cherry, and he takes your... I don't want to talk about this book anymore. Okay. So then after that scene, the dad walks in the middle of their FAP session, and then Jake does not like what he is seeing. He is like, how dare you, your cousin in my house? So rather than punish his son, he punishes Tiernan by slapping her in the... This takes place from the point of view of Tiernan, and the whole time she is just, like, talking about how she is by the spanking, and I just don't, is it already done? Oh my gosh, like, I am literally not drunk enough to talk about this stupid book, I swear. So remember when I said psychological abuse? Yeah, I meant this. So the next day, her uncle Jake takes her hunting, and she has lived in California, so she doesn't, she's never hunted for her food before. So the sight of having to kill an innocent deer was very traumatizing for her, but he threatened her with the threat of hunger for the rest of the wintertime. He was like, this whole family will starve if you don't shoot this deer despite your mental health. You're gonna kill this animal for us, for your family. And then so Tiernan straight up has a meltdown. She starts punching Jake in the face. She starts like throwing fists. She starts like going off on him physically. While she's beating him up, he gets a and she feels his and her response is to start what? And then he eats her like out there in the snow. And then halfway through he's like, no, I can't do this. You are my niece. For reals, man. But then she decides that she wants to do it. She is liking what's happening. She doesn't want him to stop. So she says, you're a loser. My dad said you were a loser. You suck. You're a loser. And then we go to his point of view and we essentially read about a 40-year-old man hate an 18-year-old woman. And then after they're finished, he is magically able to get an again, and he asks her, and I quote, he asks her, have you ever ridden a mechanical bull? I'm not going to say what happens next, but use your imagination. Based on the trajectory of this story, guess what happens next. Just guess, okay? Later in the day, they are in the shower together, and she decides to role play as his dead lover. And like, she's like, I am gonna be your dead lover that my parents caused the death of. Pretend I am her and do what you would have done with her. And I'm like, Tiernan, my dear, please do not. And then he starts saying some really gross like trad wife shit to her, like, you're gonna be in my kitchen in the day and in my bedroom at the night. And I wanted to stop reading this book right then and there. Actually, I wanted to stop reading after 5 pages, but the human being is the most curious animal, and I didn't stop for some reason. I hate myself. I hate myself. So at this point, Jake is having all the fun, and Noah and Caleb are like, I want some of that. Yeah. So somebody sets their barn on fire, and Tiernan decides to rescue the animals. But while she is rescuing the animals, afterward she gets a giant cut on her arm, and because they can't go to the hospital, Caleb decides to play amateur surgeon and sew up her cut. But she is squirming, so in order to distract her from the pain, he slaps her in the face, and she decides that she appreciates them for trying to distract her from the pain. After they performed amateur surgery on her and essentially beat her up, they have a Before that happens, Noah says, we took care of you. Now it's your turn to take care of us. I wanted to vomit. I was over it. I was like, nope, nope, nope. So then Caleb pretty much her in the and Noah her in the and they are doing this at the same time. Two brothers, like, they're touching in, I'm not even gonna illustrate what this was, but like, just no. Okay, so basically, that's what the whole entire book is. And then hard cut to the end, the snow melts, the beginning of spring starts, and so people are able to get up to the mountain. So after all of that, something actually happens. This guy named Terrence Holcomb, who is like this guy in their village, who is like this like criminal guy, biker guy in their village. He is apparently a psychic because he learns that Tiernan is home alone because blah blah blah, boring plot convenience, bullshit. Jake, Noah, and Caleb have to go into town. So while Tiernan is alone in the house, this Terrence Holcomb guy and his friends come up to the house. Basically, they have this plan to kidnap and gang Tiernan, and then suddenly Tiernan turns into Katniss Everdeen and takes a bow and arrow and shoots Terrence in the shoulder. But before she can like exhibit more heroism, the three guys, Noah, Jake, and Caleb show up to save the day, because even at the end, she couldn't have her moment of agency and usefulness. Why? Whose fantasy is this? I do not understand. Truly, I do not. Tell me if you understand, because I am curious. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna regret asking, aren't I? Probably. Who knows? So yeah, she gets abused the whole time, probably traumatized. If you're wondering how this book ends, it ends with her ending up with Caleb. Fast forward 5 years in the future, she's got a kid with him, happily ever after. Fuck this shit. This shit. This is the stupidest book I have ever friggin' read. Fucking 0 out of 10, negative billion out of 10. So, I think that I owe the audience a recitation of my own erotic fantasy, and that is basically Tiernan getting a restraining order on these 3 men and writing a tell-all book, becoming a hashtag #MeToo, hashtag Time's Up heroine, and Caleb ending up, actually all 3 of these men ending up on the electric chair, burning from the inside out because they forgot to give them the wet sponge. That's sexy. That's hot. Anyway, that is my review of Credence by Penelope Douglas. If you like this video, like and comment and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and I will love you forever. If you enjoy these super special Fun Juice reviews, let me know what book you'd like me to talk about down below. Maybe you'll see it in a future video. Who knows? I hope to see you in future videos, but until then, take care. I lose myself